What got me addicted to glass was how different it is from any other material. There's no material like molten glass to work with. With glass, it takes such a long time to learn. They do say it takes at least a decade to get good at it. It's one of those things that you never stop learning. There's always somewhere else you can go with it. Everything I drew was a building up of layers, and I'd make quite a few background washes or oil, and then I'd work on top of that with something else and build it up. And with blown glass, you have to build up things in layers. So thinking back, that's probably what attracted me to it, was how similar it was to what I was drawing. For me, in the way I work, probably the building up of the layers, but then also cutting back through the layers. I've always liked that. It's sort of making little windows into what's going underneath. And one of my favourite things to do is work with opaque glass, which obscures the light, and then cutting back through and letting the light show again. So a lot of my ranges are about that opposite of obscuring and letting light in, and how there's no other material that allows you to do that in the extent that glass does. So I like playing with that sort of ceramic look, but then surprising the viewer with having the transparent or clear glass underneath. You can't touch it with your hands. You have to either touch it with damp newspaper, graphite, wood or steel. All these things are used to shape it, but gravity is your biggest tool. If you have the heat of the glass just right and at the right angle, it'll do exactly what you want it to do. You have to have a good eye, good coordination, and really know how the glass reacts. That's why when you first start out, it's like, whoa, what is this? I don't really understand why it's acting like that. And the only way I can describe it really is if you were trying to gather up some runny honey on the end of a toothpick, you'll be able to feel what molten glass is like when we first gather. Blowing is a very collaborative thing. It's almost like a dance routine when I'm blowing with Ian. It does become a bit like a waltz. You both know where you've got to be at a certain time. You sort of dance around each other to produce this piece of art by the end of it. So I think when you do work with someone, especially if you work completely with that person, you begin to get really fluid as the glass, and begin to play off each other, produce something that you're both happy with. So I think having that strong relationship really does produce something you're both happy with at the end. You do so many of them, it becomes intuitive. So I've now got to the point where I know how tall a jug is before even grabbing my calipers up. And sometimes it might be a little bit out, but to be honest, what is the point of a human making it if it's perfect? That's what machines are for. A person has faults and has blemishes that can actually make something nicer because it is different. It is an individual piece, and I don't use any molds. It's all free blown, and I do that purposely because I want each piece to be more skill based, more how my eye sees it rather than what mold it fits into. I like working with it when it's hot and when it's cold. So that could be using the machines to carve back through or change the qualities of the surface, so maybe make it matte. I think a lot of that is just through exploration. It's not happened overnight. It's something that's taken a long time. The brightness of colour that I use is similar to the relationship I feel to glass, that it is a happy thing and that I want to make other people happy with what I've made. Everything I make is like a little character, even though it's not designed in that way exactly. Each one is individual to me. They're like my little glass babies.